As a disclaimer, I'd like to ask you to forgive me for the following few minutes of self-regarding nasal-gazing nonsense, but if I can't have any self-regarding nasal-gazing nonsense on my own channel, then where the hell can I? This is some thoughts on reviews, part 2. I love my new cockroach suit of armour. It'll help me survive from a nuclear gas. It's thoughts from the cabin. Isn't the internet fun? It's the greatest unforeseen consequence of all the unforeseen consequences. Do you remember those days back in Tahrir Square, when all those people looking for justice and fairness used Twitter to congregate and to effect change? What days they were. A high watermark of dignity for the internet. We truly thought that a new technology had reached maturity. Then, nothing changed. The facile and hostile just gubbed some steroids and hit the gym. Coke and Starbucks and the grotty dried cum-encrusted denizens of 4chan and the patchouli crooks of Goop all got down to unlocking the true purpose of the internet, to make some real money. Alex Jones and Deepak Chopra know this, and the endless purveyors of disposable tat know this. Fund a pro-life organisation or print a rainbow on your cups and you could treat your staff like serfs and pay no taxes whatsoever because the internet has made the superficial a virtue. You can know everything you want to know about anyone by the 3 lines of their Twitter bio, and you can tell the rest of the world how wonderful you are by vilifying them in public. All the while, boxes of cash are being dumped in the Cayman Islands and inner city kids don't have school books. The immature dreams of a global community were flung aside to foster division and hatred and thereby flog fake dietary supplements, futile home security systems, and plushy fucking Pokemon. Society collectively winced at a potential future of genuine discussion and mutual empathy and realised that what they wanted to do was pretend to give a fuck whilst using the internet for its divinely ordained purpose, and that is to buy, because we're all just holes that can only be filled with things, and future generations can go fuck themselves because I need it now. This is a piece about reviews. This is a piece about marketing. And this is a piece about the difference between the two. It's also a piece about the virtues of both. It's also a piece about opposition, because I believe that these two forms of expression are opposed to one another. And when that opposition starts to be blurred, people start to be lied to. And they start to lie to themselves. There is a line that can be crossed, but the line should remain, and reviews should never be conceived as marketing tools. They may result in being so, but that should be an unintended consequence. This is also a piece about responsibility, and if you don't think I'm qualified to talk about responsibility, I have a Twitter account, and you have a word processor and a brain. I welcome the conversation. Before I enter the substance of this piece, please allow me to lead you through the endless cul-de-sacs of my brain. I want to offer some context to what will follow, but also to indulge myself in some public self-reflection. There is no one in my real life that will listen to me, so I hope that some of you will in my binary one. Consider your indulgence at the next couple of minutes as an act of charity. Consider it your good deed for the day, if that's still a thing. I started writing properly at the age of 32. In these 10 years, I've produced over 500,000 words of prose, about 1,000 of poetry. I've written the lyrics to a handful of songs, and one screenplay that was actually made and I was dreadful in. I harboured dreams of supporting my life with words. After 10 years, that's failed to happen, but that isn't the only reason I write. Writing, for me, is an act of chronicling. It's a way of telling the story of my life through fiction and fact, not through the slavish retelling of the amorphous nothing that is the day-to-day existence of an abject failure, but as colour, as emotion, as feeling. It is my hope that every time I sit at a table to write, that my current mood infect the sentences. My petty victories and failures inform the choices of my words. My heartbreak and happiness flow from my fingers and create life in the lifeless screen of my computer. I've had a lot to pass in the decade since I started to write with any kind of regularity. I've had to process death and love. I've had to hold hands with aging and obsolescence. All of this is held in an arc of memory that is my writing. All of my monotonous despair and magnesium flash joy blasted from my gut to a computer screen, and then sometimes to a microphone, and sometimes condemned to dwell on a hard drive, unloved and unread by none other than its creator. Like anything anyone does a lot of, it's not just some self-aggrandizing justification, but the simple fact that I enjoy it a great deal. I try to write something every day. I don't always succeed, but I try. Writing is capricious. It's hard. It can be a flood or a trickle, but it's always useful. I never regret sitting down to write, and I often regret not. I have written since I was a child, and it's always grounded me to the world and kept me sane, and now I appreciate these terms are relative. People are unreliable. Love is all too fleeting, and success an illusion. But putting a pen onto a piece of paper and creating something where there was previously only void is life-affirming. It is a demonstration that I'm still alive and I still function. I'm here, and though that fact is ignored by everybody most of the time, it's empirically demonstrated in these very words. Writing hasn't saved me. I think I'm doomed to be forever lost, but it has stopped me from being pulled under. I've formed my grief and my heartbreak into sentences. I've sculpted my disappointment into words, and I've forged my panic into stories. What you hear now is me, and it is because I write that you can hear me. Writing pulls me out of bed in the morning, and writing tucks me in at night, and that's a good thing, as there's no actual fucking person who's going to. Also, writing is a wonderful device for self-pitying hyperbole. So, with all that out of the way, let's get to the substance of this piece. As I said, this is a piece about reviews, and it's a piece about marketing. It's not really about my reviews, though they will inevitably enter the conversation. It's also about the fact that in the absence of some neutral, greater power that we can rely on, we have to rely on ourselves. This hobby is rushing towards even greater professionalism with every passing day, and yet the talk around games is regressing. It's being subsumed by the marketing machine, and people are justifying this craven betrayal, literally saying that it's fine. I told you the internet was loads of fun. I guess we should define our terms here: reviewing and marketing. This is the distinction between having the interests of your readers, listeners and viewers at the forefront and performing a deceitful illusion, hiding your intentions under your top hat. It's about priorities and honesty, and if those things mean anything to you. No matter how you dress it up, marketing has one simple goal, and that is to make you buy something. There was a time when we knew what was what. It was an honest grift. It's hard to know this now. This is because marketing is no longer cordoned off into the ad break or the billboard. It is intruded into areas it shouldn't. It's in our movies and our songs, and it's in our reviews. It has become so ubiquitous now that we see the blatant manipulation of our fears and loves and joys for money as just another part of the landscape. We write TV series about it, we send our kids to school to study it, and we commend it for its wit and efficacy. We've swallowed it and all become its unwitting proxy. We've become an army of quislings. Marketing, while sometimes necessary, should be in a cage with a neon sign that says, "This may not be honest, they want your money." We should know if we're being sold to, because anything else is dishonest. I'm going to put it out there. I'm not a great fan of marketing. A big fish swims through the water and is orbited by cleaner fish. They're fish that consume the algae and dead skin from the bigger fish, and then they shit it into the water. That shit? That's marketing. It's an industry that makes money off the creative strength of others. It's an industry that will sell you cigarettes. It walks hand in hand with the cable fearmongers, breeding in us a sense of never being good enough, always being a bottle of deodorant or a microplastic crammed exfoliant away from calm. And when that calm doesn't appear, well then you should buy this, and on and on and on. Marketing can lay claim to so much. Planned obsolescence? Yeah. Waste and excess, sure. This phone that's the same as last year's? The Amazon forest clearance burger and CO2 flavoured water? Marketing has given us all of this. Thanks, marketing. Reviews are a tiny attempt to try and stem the flow of sewage. Reviews are a call for restraint, a purgative that tries to calm the worst symptoms of marketing. At least they should be. Reviews are not there to encourage more and more consumption, they're there to limit it. Reviews should promote caution, not consumption. Reviews are nowhere near as admirable as the act of creation, but thank God, they're not marketing. I've spent the last couple of weeks arguing something which seems perfectly self-evident to me, that your review should reflect your real opinion of the game, that this is the substance of a review, your honest view of the game, and, I can't stress this enough, whether that be positive or negative. This has been somewhat derailed by the talk of paid reviews, and that's clearly a red herring, as why would a company as small as a game company bother when the commentariat is more than willing to perform a bait and switch on their audience for the price of a game? Also, I understand the distinction between a preview and a review. One is marketing and the other is not, and as long as there is a declaration up front and there's no subterfuge, we can all get on with our lives. The latest argument is what I want to address here. It follows thus. I'm not getting paid, so why would I bother to take the time to produce a review for a game I don't like? Well, this is simple, because if you've decided the reviewing of games is the activity you want to participate in, well then that goes with the territory. A coda to this argument is the one that says other industries have a neutral body that pays their reviewers, so they have both the time and the resources to review the games they don't like. Like it or not, almost nobody is making money at this lark in board gaming. I would adore to be taken on by a newspaper or magazine and be paid for my time and effort. I understand the frustration and not being adequately paid for your endeavour. It is inevitable that this project will come to an end at some point simply because I don't get paid enough to do it, and I certainly don't see the work I do as a hobby, but, like it or not, while I continue to produce work that appraises games, my sole obligation is to my listeners. There isn't this magical beneficial organisation that will pay me to write my bad reviews. We are all we've got, and if we neglect that part of our role, it is the community we profess to love that we're doing a disservice to. It is the very reason you have to appraise games honestly, because you're the only port of call. If you only review games you like, or leave out your misgivings for fear that review copy faucet will dry up, what will the people who consume your content do? Where can they go to find someone who will counsel caution? You are it. Also, it seems to me that if you find a game terrible, that gives you a greater impotence to produce a review, to warn people off, to voice your concerns, to serve the community. This is what reviewers are for. Also, the fact that game designers are being especially vocal on this point is beneath comment. And for those who only want to produce positive reviews, I have a question. If producing a review is such a chore, if it's such hard work, then why do you bother? The act of construction, the ability to solidify the amorphous fog of my thoughts into sentences, whether I elogize or condemn, that piece of work is the reward. It is the 1,000 words that didn't exist before. That is the goal. And I've managed to do that through playing games. Reviewing games is not about the free copies. It's not about the Twitter likes or the downloads. It's about the review. The act of teasing out meaning from a few bits of plastic, cardboard and wood. This is the whole of the thing. And if it isn't for you, then why do you do it? It's true that this is a grandly solipsistic motivation, but it has the unintended consequence of urging caution, of giving people pause and slowing the consumption, even if it's only a little. And with the amount of people who've told me they've no interest in my reviews, it suddenly is a little. Also, it's fine if you're doing it for the free copies or the press passes, but if you achieve your goals, then do the fucking work, and do it honestly. Or stop, because people do take what you say seriously, and to only speak positively is to participate in marketing. It is to lie by omission. If you're not willing to do that, then stop. This isn't the gig for you. Just play the game and relieve yourself of the burden of having to drag the reviews out of yourself. It's clearly too much of a hassle. Fundamentally, why did I not like this is as much of a challenge to write about as why did I like this? It's the same exercise. It's the same puzzle. It also rewards you with being honest, which also must be some kind of boon for the amateur opinionist. Treat the negative and the positive with equal derision. Your views should be smacked with mallets, and the ones that stay up are the ones to go with. Be honest, respect the community, and don't, and I can't stress this enough, don't do marketing. Thank you for listening, and you can support this show by going to patreon.com/5G4D.